Namaste, Jaipal. There's no saying that what the Europeans are thinking about themselves in case of trade. Other things as well, but I'm not concerned about that right now. In case of trade, they they have been speaking all around that anyone who's buying oil from Russia will be sanctioned. Of course, they do. And if you look at the history of sanctioning by these people, they've sanctioned so many people. The extent of sanction which is on Russia is unimaginably large. But then, did it really make any difference to Russia? They will look for alternative. They are, and they're as good as everything. They have been fighting a war with all the might of NATO, with all the kinds of support from US for almost 3.5 years. And then, did that change something visible in Russia? I don't think so. They are what they are. They have their friends, including us, of course, obviously. Now they have gone to the extent, the European Union has gone to the extent, of course everyone knows, and also knows the repercussions of that on our Gujarat refineries. Of course, Gujarat is sensitive to Europeans because that's a home state of my Prime Minister. Of course, even I live there. Now, never they sanctioned. Of course, we have plenty of alternatives, but that is not your concern, that our concern. We know what to do, and then what we said, okay, you sanction our refinery. They pinpointed Naira in particular. Naira, of course, 49% of I think share or something is owned by Russian another company, but then it's fundamentally the SR group, Bharat's own people, those who own this. Now, how Bharat reacted? So we don't make noises in MTA. We stopped. We stopped sending petroleum product to Europe. First step. Not entirely. 40% is stopped. And we also plan or think of increasing the prices by which we send. And you are known to tell us that you sell these things for this price to me. And that's an anachronistic kind of thought. You go to shop and tell the shopkeeper, I want this thing, but you sell me this in my conditions, that the price I will decide. Now, this kind of situation is ridiculous and anachronistic. So this is what they do to Russia. If you want to buy from Russia, you buy for this kind of price, and if you buy from Russia, this is what we are going to do. All right, this kind of trade tariffs, it makes a difference to them mostly, but then not that serious difference to others as they expect, because many nations have its sanctions. China is sanctioned, Russia is sanctioned for a long time, Iran is sanctioned, many other people are sanctioned, even Bharat was sanctioned after our second nuclear experiment during Atalji's time. And we face it, and we face it, and we overcome such things. So they try to do all those things, and it doesn't yield much result as they should have seen or experienced, because others know how to survive. Now we stopped 40% only, and with this stoppage of 40%, the EU people are suffering. They don't have sufficient petroleum products, especially petrol, diesel, etc., in their pumps. And what the news or report says, I don't know if it is exactly true or not, the cars or etc., the story what I heard is that they leave cars on the street and walk home because they can't buy petrol, diesel, etc. And the people in the nations, EU nations, not all EU nations are economically that affluent. There are many small nations who can't afford this kind of gain. So the people are out in the street protesting to their own governments against this kind of sanctions against Bharat. They don't know what Bharat is, they have not understood. They should know that we don't intend any harm to any society. We are not interested in others' property. We are interested in our own work efforts and results, that's more than sufficient for us to become strong, powerful, and authoritative. That's more than sufficient for us. So that part they don't understand. See, the problem with most European people is that they think or they consider that Bharat would behave like they would have behaved in similar situations. But you just understand the structure and tradition and culture of this kind of land. We are not interested in others' affairs. We are not interested in bossing around. But then, if you start poking us, of course, we will react. Many people in my nation want Bharat to be proactive, but then we are not proactive. That's not in our structure to go and harm others. We are one civilization, we are one society, we are one dharma who respects everything in the cosmos, both living and non-living. That you have not understood. You have been using the environment for your personal benefits. You have been exploiting the cosmos for your interests. But we were not that, and we are not that. So this 40% itself becomes very heavy for Europe, and the people in Europe, we have nothing against people anyway. So the people in Europe, we have nothing against even the administration or the rules. We have nothing against anyone at all. We are only against policies which disturb us. So the people in Europe, they are out there in the street against their own respective governments in EU. And this is only because when 40% is cut. What shall happen if we stop the entire petroleum export from Bharat to various European nations? Now, you must understand one thing. There is a war between Ukraine and Russia at the instance of European Union, not NATO. Someone's interest, someone's folly, someone's short-sightedness, someone's haughtiness, and people die. And Russia is not a small fry. You just can't make them succumb. They won't. They get fighters otherwise, but they don't disturb others. They don't encroach into others' properties for their personal interest. They don't do that. They have a history. And again, you think that Russia will behave as you would have behaved in similar situations. That's how you underestimate people. That's how you underestimate nations. Yeah, that's how you underestimate culture, because it needs. There's a quoting. It takes a genius to understand another genius. That someone has said it. I heard it right in my childhood. It takes a genius to understand another genius. So it takes a Sanskrit or culture to understand another culture. I'm not accusing your culture directly, but then there's some shortcoming seriously in your understanding, thinking, and perspectives and worldviews. So this 40% puts you in misery. And then European Union is going to be soft, or is already soft with Bharat. We are not antagonistic. We are not against. We will discuss. We are going to be the wise rule in our nation. The wisdom will the wisdom of rulers will deal culturally, decently, and ethically. Ethics is your concept. We have the concept of dharma. We are not going to deviate from dharma. So look at this mess which you have made. Whose instance this mess is being made? The people are made to suffer because of the geopolitics, and someone is putting his mind in wrong manner. This, of course, people have to understand. I think they'll correct. There's nothing that incorrigible these days, or at present with European Union and sanctions and the stories of Naira blocking, etc. Now European Union has become soft, and they tell you, we were not against Bharat, we are against Russia. All right, you're not against us, we are not against you at all. And the people of Europe are comfortable with us, and the people of Bharat are very comfortable with the rest of the world. Not just Europe, most people in the world. In fact, everyone in the world, including Pakistanis who have been right from childhood initiated into hating Hindus. In spite of that, we have nothing against the people of Pakistan. They hate us, not that we hate them. They consider us enemies, we don't consider them as enemies. Now this gap remains because of their initiation madrasa kind of teaching. You should understand the rest. So this is a synthetically created spurious situation which shall not last and cannot last for long. We shall meet again. Namaste, Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.